Hello, Radiant Leo. If you've been searching for a sign that your financial destiny is about to change, this is it. And it's bigger than you think. The truth is, you didn't click on this video by chance. Something far greater than logic led you here. These final days of July are not just another calendar flip. They carry the unmistakable pulse of cosmic timing. And right now, the universe is aligning the biggest money wave of your life and preparing you to receive it. Take a breath with me. Deeper. Slower. Do you feel that subtle hum in your chest? That pull inside you? That's not anxiety or restlessness. That is spiritual readiness. The moment your higher self has been quietly preparing you for. On July 30th and 31st, a rare astrological portal opens. And this shift isn't just about dollars and external wealth. It's about energy. About reclaiming the value of your time, your emotional currency, and your personal boundaries. About finally receiving the abundance that matches the light you've poured into the world, often without return. You've done enough, Leo. You've given, waited, hoped, and stayed quiet for too long. But now the universe is asking you to stop chasing. To stop proving. To finally shine from within, because that's the exact vibration that draws everything to you. You might already sense this shift. Maybe you've been speaking less, but thinking more. Feeling pulled inward, yet more confident than ever. Maybe old connections are trying to return, but you no longer feel shaken. This is not regression. This is evolution. Right now, the stars are aligning in your favor, not because you've begged or pleaded, but because you've grown into a version of yourself that cannot be ignored. And yes, there will be opportunities in finances, career, even love. But they won't come through struggle. They will arrive when you honor your energy. When you stop proving and start embodying. So I ask you, Leo, what do you feel shifting inside you right now? What truth about your worth are you finally ready to accept? Leave a comment below and tell me. Let the universe know you're ready. Even a simple, "I'm ready to receive," can open a new energetic door. And if this message already speaks to something you felt but couldn't explain, then stay with me. Because what I'm about to reveal in this video may be exactly what your soul has been waiting to hear. Let me also take a moment to thank you from the deepest part of my heart for your presence, your likes, your comments, and your trust. Every interaction helps us reach more people, but more importantly, it helps us build a sanctuary of transformation here at Eternal Mindfulness. You're not just a viewer. You're part of this movement. And Leo, if you stay with me until the end of this reading, I can promise you what the universe is about to show you will change the way you see yourself and your future forever. The cosmos doesn't whisper, it pulses. It pulses through your breath, through your memory, and through every decision you've made that brought you to this very moment. And now, Leo, we've arrived at a threshold that is not symbolic, it's real. The skies above are not simply moving. They are aligning, converging in a way that reveals an invitation. But this door that the universe is opening, it will not push itself wide. Only you can walk through it. The waning moon in Scorpio, arriving on July 30th, is no ordinary transit. Scorpio energy invites intensity, it strips away illusions and exposes what we've been gripping too tightly. Under this moon, many will feel the need to cling harder to certainty in their finances, career path, or even power dynamics in relationships. But for those who are truly ready to rise, this is not a test of will, it is a test of surrender. You may have noticed the tension rising in your chest when things don't go as planned, or when the outcomes you've meticulously built suddenly wobble. That's not failure. That's the universe creating a crack so the old patterns can finally fall apart. Because sometimes, abundance doesn't come by chasing more, but by releasing the old definitions of what enough means. And that's exactly where the beauty of the sun trining the moon comes in. When the solar force, your core identity and light, harmonizes with the reflective lunar wisdom, it creates a perfect moment for internal alignment. You are given a rare opportunity to live on the outside exactly how you feel on the inside. To let your external life become a mirror of your most authentic frequency. Imagine a still lake at dawn. The surface reflects not just the sky, but your face. Now imagine if the sky and your soul finally look the same, vast, golden, present. This is the energy of the sun and moon speaking in harmony. You don't need to shout anymore, Leo. You just need to stand still long enough for the world to feel your gravity. And here's where it gets personal. For far too long, you've perhaps lived like a fire contained, burning bright but keeping others warm before you warm yourself. You've poured into spaces that took without balance. You've handed out your attention, your wisdom, your affection sometimes to people who only knew how to absorb, not reciprocate. And yet, you stayed. You kept playing that role. The unspoken giver. The quiet guardian. The silent strength. But now, the universe is shifting the wheel of fortune and it's placing you at the center. This isn't about ego. It's about equilibrium. True prosperity isn't about getting more. It's about being in right relationship with your energy. About knowing that when you say yes to your own center, you give others permission to rise from theirs. Some teachings remind us that suffering often arises not from what happens, but from the resistance to what is. In that sense, liberation is not a destination, it is a moment of choosing to flow instead of grasp. And Leo, this is your moment. This is your call to release the outdated financial expectations, inherited scarcity stories, or the unconscious belief that you must prove your worth to be rewarded. You don't need to be louder. You don't need to chase. You simply need to remember who you are and let the flow of abundance recalibrate around the version of you who no longer waits to be chosen. You already are. So when you feel that door open energetically or circumstantially, don't look over your shoulder. Don't ask for permission. Just walk through. Quietly. Fully. Sovereign. Because the universe isn't asking you to compete. It's asking you to come home. When we begin to witness the movement of energy not through what others do, but through the quality of our own response, something sacred begins to unfold within us. The cards that have stepped forward for you, dear Leo, are not just symbols, they are mirrors. They don't predict, they reflect. And in this moment of your life, they reflect a story of quiet courage, steady transformation, and the kind of wealth that begins with clarity, not coins. The Strength card, emerging at the heart of this reading, is not about overpowering life with brute force. True strength is never loud. It is the hand that doesn't tremble, even when the storm howls. It is the ability to look at chaos and still choose not to collapse into it. In many teachings, real strength is learning how not to react, but to observe and to act only when the heart is aligned. You are being reminded here that leadership does not require noise. It requires presence. If your financial life is changing, it is not because you fought harder than anyone else, it is because you stopped running and started standing. The Queen of Pentacles is a message of grounded abundance. She doesn't chase money, she tends to it like a garden. She nurtures it with care, patience, and wisdom. This card asks you to consider where your resources, time, attention, money are being scattered. Are they feeding what will grow? Or are they being poured into something already withering? A wise woman knows that love, like money, needs soil. You are being asked to bring tenderness into your finances. To stop seeing them as a battlefield and begin seeing them as something sacred. Wealth is not what you hold. It's what you cultivate. The Tower in reverse carries deep significance. In its upright position, this card can feel abrupt, violent, even overwhelming. But reversed, it is more introspective. It speaks of changes that have been brewing internally, quiet decisions you've already begun making without realizing it. Maybe you've already walked away from a mindset that no longer fits. Maybe the structure you once depended on is starting to dissolve, but this time you're not afraid. This time, you're ready. This reversal is your moment of reclaiming authorship over your own change. Life is no longer happening to you. You're making choices with your eyes open and your spine straight. And now the world arrives, a sign that you are coming full circle. But notice it does not suggest starting over. It's about integration. All the lessons you've carried, the patterns you've outgrown, the wisdom you've earned, they are not discarded. They are woven into a stronger, more centered version of you. A cycle ends not because you failed, but because you finally understand. The story no longer needs repeating. You've graduated. Then comes the Knight of Pentacles. A messenger of reliability, discipline, and grounded reward. Unlike other knights who rush ahead, he moves steadily. This is not the energy of instant gratification. It's the energy of earned confidence. The Knight teaches that financial growth, real, lasting prosperity is not a flash of luck. It is the slow accumulation of self-trust. Every time you said no to what wasn't right, every time you waited instead of leaping, every time you chose discipline over desire, you were building this. Not just money. Momentum. So if it feels like nothing is changing fast enough, take heart. You are not behind. You are aligned. The life you're creating may not explode into being, it may grow like a forest, quiet and unstoppable. And when it finally surrounds you, you'll realize it wasn't the world that changed. It was you. And the cards knew it all along. There comes a moment, not marked by fanfare or fireworks, when your reality begins to shift, not from the outside, but from a quiet place within. For many, this moment goes unnoticed, buried beneath the noise of everyday life. But for you, Leo, it's becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. Something is moving. Not in your circumstances, but in your perception. The way you speak less and feel more. The way silence becomes sacred, not empty. That's not withdrawal, it's resonance. When your energy starts to recalibrate, the first change is almost always invisible. But it's real. And it's profound. One of the most telling signs that you're on the edge of abundance is when you no longer need to announce your readiness. You simply become it. Your quietness is not lack, it's clarity. In teachings that emphasize deep awareness, silence is often where the greatest power arises. Not the kind of silence that hides, but the kind that listens, observes, waits. When you begin speaking less, you're no longer reacting to the world, you're responding to something deeper. And that shift in response is often the first ripple of a greater change. Then come the returns, people, situations, even old thoughts knocking on your door again. But notice this time, you don't answer with the same heart. You've grown. And in that growth, you've created space. It's not that the past disappears, it simply no longer defines you. And so, when someone from your past reappears, you feel the difference. You don't chase, you don't bend, you don't justify. You witness. You choose. That is wealth, the wealth of self-possession. The knowing that you no longer need validation to be steady. And have you noticed? Those who once dismissed you, minimized you, misunderstood your light, they're starting to mirror you. Imitate you. Some might call it flattery. But what it really is frequency. You've shifted into an energetic state that others instinctively try to match even if they don't fully understand it. This isn't your ego's victory. It's your energy's quiet revolution. Like a mountain that never shouts, but makes everything around it bow. Perhaps the most intimate sign is how you carry yourself lately. It's not your wardrobe, not your makeup, not your hairstyle. It's your field. People feel drawn to you, not because of something you're doing, but because of something you've stopped doing, proving. When the need to be chosen dissolves, something magnetic emerges in its place. Your posture changes. Your gaze deepens. You move with a kind of soft certainty that tells the world, I already belong. And this is where the paradox begins to unfold. You no longer chase money, love, or recognition, yet they begin to find you. Why? Because you're no longer giving off the signal of lack. You become a match to something much more powerful than external gain. You become a match to your own enoughness. And from that space, everything else is drawn to you, not as a reward, but as a reflection. There is a timeless principle that teaches, when the fruit is ripe, it falls effortlessly. You don't need to shake the tree or climb its branches. You simply need to grow into the kind of energy that allows the fruit to fall into your open hands. You are becoming that. You are ripening. And the universe is preparing to harvest something extraordinary through you. So take a moment and ask yourself not what's coming, but what's shifting. Are you recognizing these signs? If so, don't be afraid to name it. Comment below with, I'm raising my frequency, not for me, but as a signal to the energy that surrounds you, that you are not asleep anymore. You are rising. And everything you've been waiting for is beginning to rise with you. When the external world begins to shimmer with opportunity, the wise do not run toward the glitter, they pause, breathe, and listen for alignment. Leo, you've reached a moment not of sudden action, but of deliberate energy. What's coming into your life now requires discernment, not reaction. This is where your true power lies, not in how quickly you can say yes, but in how consciously you can choose what truly nourishes you. In times of expansion, especially financial, we are often tempted to accept every offer, every sparkly path, every seemingly urgent proposal. But not all that shines is made for you. And not all wealth is wealth if it costs you your energy, your boundaries, or your inner peace. You are being asked now to become the guardian of your frequency. When an opportunity arrives, ask yourself not just whether it looks good but whether it feels clean. Whether it supports your values or simply flatters your fears. Whether it feeds your heart or just your ego. A simple question can become your guidepost. Does this nourish me or does it deplete me? You don't need more things to say yes to. You need better filters for the yes you give. The clarity of this question alone will begin to sculpt a more honest, intentional version of success. Wealth, when viewed through a conscious lens, is not a number in an account, it is autonomy. It's being able to choose where your time flows, who you allow into your sacred space, and how you invest the fire of your attention. When you redefine wealth this way, your choices begin to shift. Suddenly, being rich is not about having more, but about needing less. It's about feeling full in places where you once felt lack. And from that fullness, the kind of money that finds you is no longer compensation for pain, it becomes an extension of your wholeness. In love, the same principle applies. If you're single, it's not a phase to rush through, it's a sacred pause in which your light sharpens. The more grounded you become in your self-worth, the more your energy begins to act like a signal. Not a searchlight. A beacon. And the right soul won't need to be chased, they will respond to the frequency you've quietly built. If you're in a relationship, remember that healthy love doesn't demand you shrink. It doesn't reward self-sacrifice. It honors space. True connection breathes, it doesn't bind. Your body, too, is part of this recalibration. Not just the physical shell, but the subtle energies it carries. Tension builds when we keep entertaining conversations, habits, or inputs that we know drain us. Just like polluted air, these interactions clog your inner clarity. This is a time to step back from dialogues that pull you out of alignment. Not with anger, but with grace. Support your system from the inside out. Choose simple, nurturing foods. Reduce substances that spike and crash your energy. Add grounding elements like greens, minerals, and B-complex to balance your nervous system. And when you wake, before your day begins, visualize golden amber light surrounding you, a soft yet vibrant force field of security, clarity, and wealth. That light is not imagined. It's the mirror of your own inner gold. And as you begin to protect, nurture, and act from that energy, the world cannot help but respond. Not because you forced it, but because you finally aligned with the version of yourself that has been waiting not to be chosen, but to choose. Numbers and colors may seem simple on the surface, but when viewed through the lens of energy, they become far more than just symbols, they become frequencies. They are not about superstition. They are language. A silent language the universe uses to align you with specific vibrations, especially when you are ready to receive on a deeper, more conscious level. When we work with numbers like 17 or 88, or when we choose to wear or meditate with a specific color such as amber gold, we are not inviting magic, we are affirming readiness. We are tuning ourselves into the same frequency as the message we wish to live. 17 is a number that resonates with hope, clarity, and universal guidance. In the tarot, it carries the energy of the star, the card that appears after the tower has fallen. And that placement is not coincidental. The star doesn't come to fix or to fight, it comes to illuminate. It reminds you that after every collapse, there is light. Not just at the end of the tunnel, but within you. Seeing or working with the number 17 around this time is a gentle confirmation that your direction is blessed, that your healing is active, and that your journey is unfolding as it must. It encourages a return to simplicity, a faith that doesn't need to prove itself, only to breathe. Then we have 88, a frequency of abundance, repetition, and deep karmic momentum. It is not the shout of wealth, but the structure of it. It speaks of cycles that now return to you, magnified. Opportunities born not from chance, but from previous acts of patience, discipline, and quiet alignment. The symmetry of 8 doubled becomes a symbol of sustainable flow, like two rivers feeding each other. When this number appears, it's not a cue to speed up, but a call to honor what is already moving in your favor. Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs arrive without noise, when you finally stop resisting the natural rhythm of growth. And what of color? Amber gold is not merely beautiful, it holds a particular energetic quality. It resonates with the solar plexus, the seat of confidence, boundaries, and self-worth. This is the color of choice when you are learning to be seen without fear, when you are no longer asking for approval but allowing yourself to glow from the inside out. Wearing it, meditating with it, or even visualizing this golden hue wrapping around your body is more than aesthetic. It's an act of alignment. It is a signal to your system that you are safe to expand. That your worth is not up for negotiation. That radiance can be gentle, and strength does not have to roar. In quiet contemplative practices, there's a belief that the outer world reflects the internal terrain. That when the mind is clear, the path becomes clear. And when the heart is steady, the next step naturally appears. These symbols, numbers, and colors are not meant to dictate your fate. They are markers, confirmations, tools to bring your awareness back to what you already know but may have forgotten, that your energy is the architect of your reality. So as you step into the space of July 30-31, allow yourself to interact with these frequencies with presence. Let 17 remind you that light is already with you. Let 88 remind you that prosperity is not ahead, it's already on its way back. Let amber gold remind you that you are worthy of every beautiful thing you've ever given to others. You are not chasing wealth. You are becoming its mirror. And when your frequency is aligned, you no longer have to seek. You simply attract. Sometimes, we wait for the world to hand us permission slips before we allow ourselves to rise. We hesitate, we second-guess, and we wonder if we're truly ready for the version of life we've secretly dreamed about. But Leo, you've come far enough to know by now you don't need to ask anyone for permission to shine. That brilliance you carry, it was never meant to be small. And this moment, this portal at the end of July, isn't about starting over. It's about starting from strength, the quiet, unshakable kind you've been building within yourself all along. The energy of July 30th and 31st is not accidental. It is precise. It is timely. It is sacred. You've been walking through a season of shedding off, filtering, of refining, and now the universe wants to know, are you finally ready to receive without guilt? Can you let go of the version of you that kept giving without limits, so the version that receives with clarity and grace can emerge? This isn't a reward for being good enough. It's a reflection of alignment. When your choices begin to reflect your values, when your no is as powerful as your yes, when your silence holds as much weight as your words, that's when the abundance finds you. Not because you're chasing it, but because you've finally matched its frequency. So I ask you now, gently but sincerely, what part of you has been waiting for this moment to be activated? What belief are you now ready to release, and what truth are you finally willing to live? Take a moment to reflect. And if you feel moved, share it in the comments below. Not just to be heard, but to amplify the energy of our collective awakening. Because every time one of us stands in our light, it helps another find theirs. You're not just a listener here. You are a co-creator in this field of transformation. And the more you engage, the more you confirm to the universe, I'm ready. Ready to lead with love. Ready to set firm energetic boundaries. Ready to attract with intention. And above all, ready to live from a place that doesn't apologize for being powerful and soft at the same time. If today's message stirred something in you, something quiet but undeniable, then let this be the sign you've been waiting for. Like a river that flows because it stops resisting the shape of the land, let your life begin to unfold because you've stopped resisting the shape of who you've become. Thank you for being here, for showing up with an open heart, and for allowing eternal mindfulness to be part of your journey. Your presence, your likes, your comments, and your support mean more than you know. They are not just metrics, they are momentum. They are fuel for this shared path of awakening and expansion. If today's message resonated with you, I invite you to gently click like, subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, and most importantly, leave a comment below with the words, I am ready to receive, to energetically anchor what you've claimed today. The universe has already begun shifting in your favor. Now it's your turn to step forward, not with force, but with full awareness that you were never meant to wait for anyone else to crown you. You've already been crowned by the very essence of who you are. And you, Leo, are ready.